Hello and welcome to Leaders of Europe and this Irish referendum special programme brought to you by New Europe from the European Parliament's own television studio in Brussels. I'm joined by two MEPs, Juan Fernando López Aguilar, the President of the Spanish delegation of Socialist MEPs, Nigel Farage of the UK Independence Party, and I'm joined by two Brussels-based journalists, Johanna Grohova, a freelance from the Czech Republic, and Jamie Smith of the Irish Times.
I think Irish people are scared about the economic situation, and I think they will look towards Europe as an anchor of stability. Europe has been good to Ireland in the past. You know, we've benefited from 60 billion euros worth of investment since we joined in 1973. The European Central Bank is propping up our entire banking system at the minute. So I think for that reason, it'll be a yes.
Well, basically, Nigel, Jamie is saying, obviously the Irish should vote yes because they get all the benefits.
Well, they're going to be a net contributor, of course, in a couple of years' time, so the good days for Ireland are all finished and over, and you now find yourself stuck in a currency that's rather inappropriate for your economy. So, you know, I don't think that's the answer. I have to say, I've been involved in this campaign. I've been over to Dublin a couple of times. I've never seen anything more disgraceful in my life. If we're talking about a proper democratic election. I mean, of course we expect all the politicians to line up and say vote yes, and all the big business leaders. I mean, that's the usual drill, and we saw this in France, and we saw it in the Netherlands as well. But what is shocking is when, you know, your own Broadcasting Commission throws out of the window the piece of legislation that says that in any referendum, whether it's about Europe or abortion or whatever else it may be, that both sides should get 50% of the airtime. In this particular case, the broadcasters have been told that's not necessary. And newspapers like your own, well, OK, newspapers are allowed to have an opinion, but I just looked at some of the Sunday papers. Not only was there a 16-page insert paid for by European taxpayers from the European Commission, telling everybody what a wonderful treaty this is. But, you know, there were newspapers in which there were 9 articles saying vote yes and 1 article saying vote no, and that's been much the same over RTE. So this has not been an evenly contested, fair, free referendum.
Would you, when Ireland said no last year, from your point of view, would you have said, well, that's a shame, but they've said no, let's move on? Or do you think it's right to have repeated this exercise?
You must consider that it's been more than 20 countries that have ratified the Lisbon Treaty.
Not through a vote of the people.
The Lisbon
Treaty,
Treaty,
yeah, but career politicians.
Through
the French said no.
Through the Parliament.
The Dutch said no.
Through the Parliament,
we would have said no.
Process.
The Germans would have said no.
National parliaments are democratically
professional
elected.
politicians, not real people.
Are the legitimate representation of the popular sovereignty in each one of the member states. So I think it is about time that we say loud and clear that a no is an answer that has been taking place more than once in Europe, but a yes is also an answer and it has taken place more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times in Europe, and it's a common effort and enterprise that has to come to an end.
Let's say it's been a yes by the time some people are watching this programme. You're going to cause trouble, aren't you? Not you personally, your country.
Yes, then
so, I mean, what is the situation in a nutshell in the Czech Republic?
Will be the troublemakers. Will take over from Ireland that kind of reputation, because obviously after the ratification in Germany, which was just recent, and also a Polish president has said that he will ratify shortly if there is a yes in Ireland after the referendum. So it's going to be just the Czechs who will be holding the ratification, which obviously is not a good position because we'll be one and only country out of 27. And the situation is that the Czech president takes no as a no, and he refuses to sign until there is a yes in Ireland, and also he's waiting for this new result or verdict by the Constitutional Court in the Czech Republic.
Nigel, I just wanted to take up the nature of the campaign a bit more, because your side, the no side, has been accused of lying. The yes side has been accused of pumping money and lying. That's part of the... You know, well, it is. The one I picked up on, which, just trying to be an objective punter, just hearing about it, was the poster that went round saying that if the Lisbon Treaty goes through, the working wage in Ireland will fall to 184 euros. I mean, that was complete nonsense.
I saw that poster, and that was put out by one of the Catholic campaigning groups, and I think that poster was a mistake.
It was just wrong.
I mean, quite right to say that Irish wages are being forced down and have been forced down because there's been a massive oversupply of labour, especially in the unskilled labour market. So people are forced down to minimum wage in countries like Ireland since EU enlargement. And that's absolutely right. But to suggest that Irish rates will fall to rates in Poland in a few years' time, I think was a mistake. So, both sides make mistakes, and you're right. There's claim and counterclaim going on here. But what I would say has been interesting is the way that ever since the Irish voted no last year, both in this Parliament and in the second campaign in Ireland, anybody that pops up and suggests you should vote no is immediately demonised as opening the door to fascism, being a racist. I mean, we now have a European Union where anybody with an alternative view is branded as being some sort of neo-fascist or villain. And frankly, that tells me as much as I need to know about this European Union. It's not a democratic union. It cannot take any criticism.
I think Turkey's got nothing to do with Lisbon Treaty. Nothing to do.
Well, Mr. Sarkozy
nothing
said it
to
has.
do. The tax harmonization's got nothing to do with Lisbon Treaty. Of course, the list, to say the least.
Well, Article 311 is quite irrelevant.
Not for Ireland, not for the UK.
Article 311 of the treaty
you got
is
an opt-out
irrelevant,
clause. You should also
just
let
make it up
everybody
as you
know
go
that there's
along.
an opt-out clause that it's not
Make
going
it
to
up as you go along.
It's not going to affect
Okay,
Ireland.
Nigel,
It's not going to affect the UK. So I think.
Well, here's the Irish debate. You
to
say.
make
I mean,
it to make it
I quote the treaty and they say it's all lies.
is the first imperative mandate for one who is in politics, if he is or she is to respect the people whose vote we are asking for.
Nigel, you went down the road of mentioning articles by name, which scares the hell out of me.
Sorry.
But now you have.
I know we shouldn't discuss the treaty. No, what we should do is we should go along with the Irish Pro campaign, which is vote yes for jobs, and don't discuss the detail at all. But the fact is, this is a very significant treaty. It does make the European Union, for the first time, a legal international entity in its own right. And that's what this is about.
Just in a sentence, Article 311 is?
It is the aspiration of the European Union to raise its own taxes in the future once this treaty is ratified. Simple as that.
Has there been an agreement, as was reported, between David Cameron and your leader to hold this up for as long as possible, and if possible, till a general election in the UK? Yes, there was a letter sent to President Klaus, which was made, as was described, information that if Tory party wins elections, then they would like to run a referendum on Lisbon Treaty. The Czech president has confirmed the existence of the letter, but he's never said, I will prolong my ratification towards till there is election. But obviously, for him, for him this is a crusade. He doesn't believe in Lisbon Treaty. So I think if he could, he would do it. He's going to be king of the castle if the Irish say yes. Yes or no, gentlemen and lady? Well, let's start. Do you think it'll be a yes or a no?
It's simply unfair that there's this new tricky process in the Czech Republic. 17 senators claiming resorting once again to the Constitutional Court. I think it is about time we send a message for the people. The least thing we need now is a political crisis, is a political stalemate, is a political blockade. I mean, people should know that no to Lisbon is not good answer enough, because we still need Europe. We're still.
I see.
That's my motivation.
Yeah,
and let me tell you, you're entitled to say no, but you should be ready. But you should be ready to stand up for the people who are asking for a yes. And this Parliament makes sense, and Europe makes sense, and Europe has to be globally relevant for the world to be.
You're very new to this Parliament. If you can make sense of it, let me know, please.